Welcome everyone to another video. My name is Haggot, aka Hags, and today we are not in the office at the moment. We will be slightly later, but right now we're in my car and typical British weather, never the greatest, but we move. And we have a 2-hour drive to go and view 2 auction properties. And if you haven't read from the title already, I'll be discussing how to purchase a property from auction. Going step by step exactly the process of purchasing a property. It's never the easiest to purchase from an auction. You want to make sure you got everything right before you put that deposit down, because once you put a deposit down, as you know, you won't get it back. But again, all about that later. We're heading now to go view 2 properties, a 2-hour drive, and from there I'll discuss everything about the property, what I thought of them, and then go through the step-by-step of how I would go about purchasing those properties as they are an auction property. So let's go, and I'll see you all there. I've just come across, turn the music down for a second. See that house just across the road there? The condition of it looks like it really does need a lot of work. Something like that, you can see the windows, they need double glazing. Around the window, they of course need painting. And you could imagine possibly the inside isn't the greatest condition. So what we'll do is put one of my special letters through their door. Hopefully we'll get a buzz from them and hopefully we can secure that property. But besides that, let's keep driving and let's actually get to the destination of the 2 viewings. So let's go. We have just arrived at the 2 properties now. Let's turn the volume down. So what we'll do is we'll go and check out the 2 properties, have a good look at it. As we know, estate agents can always get the best angles, so we want to make sure that we haven't missed anything. So we'll go and check now, and I'll report back to you what I think about the properties. I'll show you the properties, and then from there, give you the steps of exactly how to do the rest. So there we have it. We've just viewed 2 of the properties. So we'll start off with the first one. First one you'll see right here, the downstairs. We'll do a nice walkthrough throughout the full property, just so you understand what the property was and the condition of it. So going around the property, I'll be honest, the condition wasn't the greatest, which we like of course, but it wasn't the worst. There was central heating, electrics would have needed rewiring, and then full cosmetics throughout the property. Where the location is of the property wasn't ideal, if I'm being honest, wasn't the greatest, and the house was so big, I would look around the area and most of the houses were converted into flats. So if I was to purchase this property, it would have been more of a conversion into possibly 2 or maybe even 3 flats. In terms of the upstairs, again, just minor cosmetics. It's very much just simple cosmetics work, this property, nothing crazy. So now let's go on to the second property. This one was located in a much better location. I can tell straight away from looking around the houses, you could see that the area, the driveway, the condition of each house was immaculate and people really looked after the house. In terms of the inside, this is where there's a big problem. You can see again in front of me that we have got problems with the stability of the property. There's been a structural survey done on the property. So looking at the video that I've shown in front of you, you won't be able to tell that the property actually needs underpinning. It was completely lopsided. It was almost like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It wasn't great at all, it wasn't ideal. But again, this is what us developers really are looking for. We want properties that need as much work to it, if not, knock down the whole thing and redo it again. So this property, you'll need to dig underground, put new foundations into the property, and from there, put everything back together, and the house will almost level out itself. Everything will go back into one level piece. But overall, looking at the condition of the property, it's not the worst. So going on upstairs, it's a 3-bedroom house. This one again, doesn't need much work done to it, if I'm being honest. Very much cosmetics. The rooms are all there, good size, can't complain. But besides that, that is the 2 properties. I'm very much leaning towards the second one. Let's go home. Let's talk about everything else when it comes to purchasing from an auction, and I'll show you the exact steps of what I would take to purchase the property. So now we are back at base, and let's discuss really what goes into purchasing a property through auction. Go step by step, making it as easy as possible. If you have any questions as well, let me know down below. So step 1, look for the property. I mean, that's where we've got to start off at. Find the property, figure out whether it's auction or not. You can find these on Rightmove, Zoopla, all the property portal sites, you'll find them all on there. Most of the time, these auction companies partner up with an agent company, and you tend to speak directly to the agent and not so much the auction company. And when speaking to the agent, they will know a lot about the area, the resale price, rent price, and so on. So you'll get a really good understanding about that property. In terms of the auction side of it, their offices tend to not be based where the property is. As they are nationwide, they are almost all over the place. So they won't really have such a great idea about the property itself. So they're probably the last people you'd want to speak to about the property. But again, there's no reason why you wouldn't ask them a question or two. Once you find the property, of course you want to do your numbers, make sure everything adds up, everything stacks up. As we know, finance is one of the most important things when it comes to property, as everything does add up. And speaking of finances, we do have fees involved. They tend to range from around 2 to 4%, and this is the fee that you pay just to the auction company. This has got nothing to do with the purchase price. This is on top of the purchase price. So it will be either 2% of the price that is agreed, or it will be around 4% of the purchase price that you agree. When it comes to figuring out how much the property will go for at auction, you tend to find a 10% above the guide price. So when you're looking online and seeing that auction property, usually add 10% on top of that price, and that's roughly how much the seller is able to agree or happy to agree to sell that property to you. Of course, from there, you don't know if it will go for a lot more, maybe even slightly less. So it's all about what happens on the day. In terms of if it goes for below the 10% guide price, it's one of those where you go for a back and forth, negotiate with the seller, and more or less you do agree something in the end. The next step is the legal pack. Usually this comes out around 2 weeks before the auction actually happens. So you want to keep your eyes out on that, and you tend to go and view the property, do your research, do your numbers before that even comes out. And most of the times there might be something in that legal pack that is a red flag. So if you're new to auction, I'd advise going to a solicitor, paying them to have a look at the legal pack, read through it, and make sure there isn't anything that's of a concern. If you are experienced, again, there may be something in the legal pack that you've missed, because every property is different and you never know what can come up. So with auction, there are usually 2 types of auction. There is traditional auction, which is something that cash buyers tend to go towards, as it's a quicker turnaround. And when it comes to bidding, it ends quite quickly. So you have to be on the ball, you have to be very quick, have the finances ready, and you don't want to miss out on that property, especially because they tend to be the ideal property which you save a lot of money with, is the best way of putting it. The next one is the modern method of auction. That can take a bit of time. You have more time to bid, you can have more time to purchase that property. I forgot to mention, actually, you do have 30 days to complete with traditional auction. Modern auction, you tend to have a slightly more, again, depending on the auction company. So this is all rough ranges. So when you do go and do your research into auction properties, go to the company's website or have a word with them, and they will tell you exactly their fees, how long it takes, viewings, etc. And when it comes to the auction day, what you want to make sure is you have everything prepared. You've read the legal pack, you've viewed the property, your numbers add up. Most importantly, should I say, the funds are ready, as that is very important. Now, going on to what happens at the auction day. There will be a set time of when the property will actually go to the auction. There will be a set time for how long the auction will last. And at that point, You just bid, you bid, you bid. Don't get carried away. Never get carried away. Usually I'm in the comfort of my home, taking my time, bidding. I know exactly how high I want to go specifically. Just to clear up as well, some auctions and their guide prices are ridiculously low. So when you see that, don't assume there's a 10% guide price really, because it's going to go well over that. How much over? That's up to you to do your numbers to figure it out. Then going back to what I was saying, bidding on the day, make sure you go to your maximum, don't go any higher. And at that point, if the property is yours, congratulations. It's officially yours. You really can't pull out of that. You can, but you have to pay a non-refundable deposit, which is either 5 or 10%, and this is towards the property. And also you would pay the auction fee, which like I said will be 2 to 4%. Once you've paid both of those, or shall I say once you've won the auction and you've paid both of those, at that point you will not get those figures back. Once you pay that off and for some reason you turn down the property, you will not receive that back. So really make sure you have everything in place and you are sure that this property is what you're after. On the other hand, you may be able to purchase properties before the auction. I've done that a few times and it does make life a lot easier, as you know what figure you can go up to. You speak to the auction company and of course they will guide you if they think that's worth putting across to the seller, or if the seller has just said, no, I just want to take it to auction, and that's it. So you just have to play the waiting game. But there you have it. That's a full breakdown of purchasing a property at auction. If there's anything you'd like more expanding on, put it down in the comments below, message me on Instagram, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. But I've been Hagot, aka Hags. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget the name, and I'll catch you in the next video.